Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. We are heading into the main event. Earnings are going to be like full throttle this week. Just huge names almost every day. Not on Monday necessarily. That's usually the case, though. Things kind of start off slow. Monday before the open, nothing of interest. Monday after the close, Xilinx price in at 13, but it's getting acquired by AMD, which reports later in the week. So even though Xilinx has historically been a mover, it's getting acquired, so I'm not doing anything with that. Before they open on Tuesday, so we get some industrials. 3M priced in at about 7.5. I really haven't been trading industrials a whole lot recently, but a lot of them have had pretty big runs. 3M hasn't, and what's interesting about it is if it can be put together a good quarter, and you can see if I go back out further, if you can put together a good quarter and get through 180, it does look like there's quite a bit of room to the upside. It might be super speculative, but it does seem to have potential, so maybe I'll look at something maybe like low debit on the bull side. FCX pricing in about 2.25. I've loved this thing as a swing trade, but I don't think I'm going to do anything for an earnings trade. I mean, you can see how extended the chart is. It's just been an unbelievable move for the past few months. Plus, earnings, there haven't really been huge events on these stocks, these mining stocks, in the recent past. So I think I'll just let earnings come and go, see where it is, and then see if it sets up well for a swing trade again. J and J. So earnings, so it's pricing in 6 points. I think, and I'm pretty sure the near-term biggest catalyst is not earnings, but it's the vaccine readout, which is supposed to be literally any day now. I thought it was supposed to be this week, so I'm guessing it's going to be early next week. I think our earnings are going to be overshadowed by that. It's usually good for a few points on reports, but maybe this time around I'll have slightly more. Like if earnings are good and the vaccine readout's positive, or if the vaccine is hopefully not negative. But if it is negative and the earnings are slightly disappointing, then it could have like a sharper move to the downside. So maybe like that just kind of amplifies the move. After the close on Tuesday, so AMD, like I said before, about 8 points, what's priced in here. We've been riding this for a swing trade for a while, and I think I'll probably stick with options into earnings. Past few quarters been very solid, right? Semis have been delivering for the most part this quarter. I guess the question for me is like I just don't really know what the near-term action will be. The stock has been kind of choppy recently, but I do think longer term we can still move higher. Microsoft, big one, big name. 10 points, what's priced in here. The other FANG names, they've had huge moves this week after Netflix reports, so I guess I don't know how much is left in the tank for Microsoft when it actually reports its own results. Going off recent history, numbers should be solid, but after the big move this week, you know, how high are expectations, right? Seems like a tougher setup now, and I might actually avoid this for earnings. Starbucks, pricing in about 4.25. I don't know what to make of restaurant stocks right now. This Mcdonald's I'll talk about in like a couple minutes. Some have been acting pretty solid. You know, I feel like Starbucks' numbers have only been okay-ish. It didn't move on its October report, so to me, kind of tough laying out money on the options because it didn't really move much last time. Um, I think I might just see how it reacts, and if it sets up quickly right after earnings, maybe hop in for a swing trade. But I don't know. I'm really on the fence with options going into actual print. And then also Tuesday after the bell, Texas Instruments. So about 8.5 is priced in here. Very strong trend, right? Not too different than what the actual overall semis are doing. And to me, it seems like, you know, as long as the numbers are decent, I mean, you could just continue this trend. I mean, the further out I go, you can see what I mean. Just very consistent trend, right? My strategies for trending stocks are usually calendar spreads or longer term options, maybe sometimes even flies. I do feel like if I did anything with Texas Instruments, that might be it, or a combination of them. ADI could also be potentially be a sympathy play on Texas Instruments. For the open on Wednesday, Boeing. So about 11 points is what's priced in here. I think J&J's vaccine readout's going to have a pretty big impact on this, and the airlines too, for that matter, in the near term. I don't know how much of an event earnings will be, because I feel like they haven't been that big of an event the last few quarters. The chart does look interesting though. If like the vaccine news is positive, it can like turn the corner and break this downtrend. Because I mean, there have been plenty of cases over the past few months where this thing has gone on real sustained moves over like a week stretch. So I don't think the option pricing is bad, but it's really only going to come down to whether or not it like breaks the trend, right? So definitely more speculative. GLW. So about 225 is what's priced in on Corning. Consistent mover when reports. Oftentimes moves more than what's priced in too. So this could be one to look at for a volatility strategy. Kind of an under the radar name, but one of those, I kind of always like have like on my watch list when earnings season rolls around. After the close on Wednesday, huge tech night. Apple, about 8.5 points, what's priced in. One of the three heavyweights reporting that night. Started to make a move higher, like the other FANG stocks. Today, actually just put in a new 52-week high. Holiday season, got the 5G phone launch, so I feel like expectations are higher. I probably lean bullish here. I guess I just don't know if it's going to have a huge move higher on the report. It could be one of those that sets up well for like tighter, closer to the money spreads, or maybe some sort of strategy with lower debit, just to get the overall premiums down. Because I guess I would only be expecting a more modest move on Apple. Facebook, about 19.5 points. It's priced in here. Political ad headlines. All of those like. All of like the pulling the ads, etc. I mean, I feel like that took a toll on Facebook, on Twitter, on Snap, etc. A lot of the platforms, social media platforms. It has had a great rebound this past week, and I feel like they're just a machine when it comes to consistently beating expectations. So it's kind of tough to bet against them. I don't know what type of upside we're going to get, but it is well off its 52-week high, which is a little bit different than some of the other FANG names. So if it does want to run, there is room, more so than some of the other ones. Could be a speculative bullish idea. I guess I just don't have a ton of conviction with it. Lamb, 33, 34 points. So it's priced in. Big semi. It's been so strong for months. Stock is up huge since November. Pretty similar chart to Micron, which just reported. And I guess the biggest issue I see is just high expectations and high option pricing. I'm not sure there's a ton of room in the options. So this one might be that I kind of mark on my list as more of like a swing trade candidate, depending on what the numbers look like, what the stock looks like right after. ServiceNow. So about 36 points priced in here. Big software report. Looks like a good candidate for a ramp into earnings. Pretty consistent history of beating and raising. I guess whether or not there's an earnings trade is probably going to depend on where it is at the time, right? Because if it really runs into earnings, probably not much left. But if it doesn't have a huge run, maybe there's a little bit more potential. But definitely a consistent history of beating and raising estimates. And then last but not least, Wednesday is Tesla. So 73 points is what's priced in on Tesla. It could be a big mover or it could be a dud. After 100% run since November, it's a much, 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 much larger company, and with a higher market cap, obviously, is what I mean, and has much higher expectations. Stock has been in a relatively tight consolidation for 2 weeks, which is good. Option pricing, though, is still very, very, very high, which is tough. It wasn't much of a mover on its last two earnings reports, too. So for me, it's kind of hard to lay out this type of premium when it hasn't had huge moves the last couple quarters. But maybe you get like a quick breakout and a rally ahead of time. So I don't know. It could be like a move into earnings. Maybe not so much a move on earnings. It's kind of, I guess, how I look at it. For the open on Thursday, MasterCard. So about 13.5 points, what they're looking for. I don't think I'm going to be involved with this, but I guess I'm just curious to see how it acts and what they say because it's really been quiet for months, actually. But above 255, not 250, 355, pretty interesting chart. That's quite a bit of ways away from where it is right now. So that's I guess why I don't really think I'll be involved option wise. But if the numbers are good and it gets up close to the 355 area, I think I might look at it for like a swing trade breakout. And then McDonald's, so a big restaurant report. 6.5 points is what's priced in here. So this is different than Starbucks. It's not as strong. It's been more of a consolidation. It's off its high. I haven't had a great feel for this or restaurant stocks for that matter, but I do think that the consolidation makes it maybe more interesting. Like if it can resolve the consolidation, then it could have maybe like a 10+ point move. Maybe more speculative, but might look at like cheap volatility strategies on that one. After the close on Thursday, so team, 20 points is what's priced in on this. Another big software report. Finally broke above 200, which is kind of like a pesky level. So removed that breakout setup that had been developing for a while. Chart looks solid, but this is closed red on earnings 3 quarters in a row. So I guess I'm more cautious on this one. Skyworks, 10 points is what's priced in on this. 5G semi-play, hanging around its high. I feel like I'd be more positive on it. Guess the biggest issue, coming off a strong quarter, like 5G plays and semi-land have been strong. It's just the option pricing is high because it really hasn't moved a whole lot on earnings over the past year plus. So that to me just seems elevated compared to what it's been doing recently. X, so another mining steel name. 2 points. It's priced in here. Cooled off real quick, real quick. Big down week. It was a great swing trade name. I think I'm just going to keep it that way, like FCX. Not too interested in earnings, but if it sets up well for a couple week trade, I might jump in after the print. And then Visa. So 7 points will be priced on Visa, but I mean, odds are MasterCard's earnings in the morning are going to move this a bunch. Maybe if it's up a lot or down a lot, maybe you can look to go the other way. But I feel like MasterCard's going to set the tone here. All right, Friday before the open, Caterpillar. So big industrial name, 9 points is what's priced in. It's been on a real impressive run over the past few months, and actually earnings have been getting better. On a streak of beating and raising. Expectations, you have to guess, are a little bit higher after this move, so I'm not sure what type of upside you see. But it does seem to fall into that trending stock pattern, so could fit the bill for maybe like a calendar spread, fly, etc., something along those lines. Chevron, 375 is what's priced in here. It's interesting that Exxon doesn't report in the same morning. Those two usually are on the same morning, so this time Exxon doesn't. So that actually could set up a pretty nice sympathy trade, as those two tend to move together, Chevron and Exxon. Just a brutal week for energy stocks. High volatility though, right? The volatility intraday, the ranges are expanding, so that might indicate that more movement's coming this week on earnings. So might keep an eye on that. And then last is Honeywell. So about 7.25. So it's priced down here. Another big industrial report. Earnings have not been much of an event for the stock for a while, but it has been in a relatively tight 2+ month range. It's big gaps, right? I feel like maybe if you can get overall risk or debit down, might be something to look at for like cheaper volatility strategies, but it would really revolve around getting that debit or risk down. And that's it. So a big week. I mean, there's so many other names that I didn't even touch on. So in addition to all the ones I talked about, there's 2 or 3 more each day that could move as well. So lots of big names, lots of expected movement. Hoping for some great action. I'm looking forward to it. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on trading earnings with options or swing trading options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Rest up, relax, and I will talk to you all on Monday.